My wife grew up in Santa Rosa, California, and had a best friend named Joy Durand, who lives in the northeast outskirts of town. At midnight of the evening on October 8th, 2017, Joy's telephone rang. The voice said simply, "You must evacuate now. There is no time to pack. A fire is coming." Joy gathered her parents and her 6-year-old son and hurried outside. The wildfire, which was just over the ridge from Joy's house, sounded like a jet engine going at full throttle. The family got in their car, drove away, and within minutes, the house had been burned to the ground, incinerated by the blowtorch flames of the Tubbs fire. Only you could prevent forest fires, but what about megafires? Smokey the Bear never warned us about a very real danger. Luckily, former NASA Chief of Staff George T. White uses his knowledge in the field, or space, of aerospace to help and fight megafires, providing innovative and effective solutions to the growing problem. With his help, maybe we can actually prevent megafires too. This is a 2023 TED Talk entitled The Growing Megafire Crisis and How to Contain It. No one thought that fire could penetrate so deeply into the city, but on that evening, 22 people lost their lives and over 5,000 homes and structures were destroyed. Wildfire is a growing challenge to the West and to the world. What happened in Santa Rosa is becoming all too common. Paradise in 2018, Australia in 2020, and Europe in 2022. And fire experts say that we should get ready for more Santa Rosas, because it's likely to get worse before it gets better. Now, beyond the major costs in lives and property and the economy, there's also a big carbon impact to wildfire. The largest fires are called megafires. These are the ones that burn over 100,000 acres with an intensity that can threaten aquifers and biodiversity, and even cause forest convergence, in which trees are so damaged that they just don't grow back. These fires are getting worse as well. Many people feel overwhelmed by the situation. I know I did. So I closed a chapter in my life in aerospace and started a new journey to see if I could understand the wildfire crisis better and what could be done about it. I started working with leaders from firefighting and philanthropy, entrepreneurship, science, tribal communities, and together we co-founded an organization called Megafire Action, whose sole purpose was to solve the megafire crisis. And I've come to believe that if we take a holistic approach, we have an opportunity to establish a new relationship with fire, to work safely with fire, and to potentially solve this wicked problem. The path forward has 3 solutions. The first is fire-adapted communities. The second is resilient landscapes. And the third is innovative fire management. So for the first, fire-adapted communities, what we need to do is to clear the brush and vegetation from the homes, from the immediate proximity of homes. Next, we need to use fire-resistant materials in the homes and the roofs. And the third thing is, where possible, protect from embers, flying embers, by protecting the homes from openings like your air vents or your chimneys. Now, communities have a strong shared interest to do this work along the exterior boundary of the community because it reduces the chances that the fire will penetrate deeply into the city, as it did at Santa Rosa. The second solution is resilient landscapes. And if there's one lesson you take from this talk, it's this. In order to solve the megafire crisis, we need to bring our western landscapes back into a healthy balance by reducing the overgrown brush and trees in our wildlands and our forests. Here, we're finally taking to heart the wisdom of the indigenous people of the Americas, who knew that fire was a natural part of the landscape, and who introduced low-intensity fire, good fire, on a regular basis at the right times. When this is done well, as around the communities of South Lake Tahoe, then it can actually divert a fire, as well as one day experienced in 2021. It can also potentially prevent a megafire from occurring. But the scale of this challenge is huge. There are hundreds of millions of acres of wildland in our American forests. So what do we need to do? What we need to do is essentially hire, train, and retain many more workers who will be doing the hard work of diffusing the time bombs inside our western forests. We need to pay them well. We need to support them with full-time work, and we need to protect them from liability where necessary. We need to empower them with innovation. And right now, there are an incredible number of great companies and organizations who are working to bring that innovation to reality. Now, the first two solutions that I've talked to you about are pretty well agreed. The third solution, innovative fire management, is somewhat more controversial, but I think it offers huge potential to address and solve the megafire crisis. What we need is innovation and technology that can rapidly detect and assess fire and put it out when it gets bad. Here, we need to look at the example of the Quick Reaction Force of Southern California. The QRF, which is really designed in some ways for these toughest days. The QRF is a public-private partnership, which now owns 3 Chinook helicopters. These are the big ones with the 2 rotors at the top, and each one can drop up to 3,000 gallons of water on a fire, day or night, and they can do it very precisely. They can also refill up to 6 times an hour, so they can bring a lot of mass to the problem. Through the course of 2 years of demonstration, the QRF has demonstrated that this model has great potential, that, in fact, if you can bring a lot of fire management resources to the fire, you can get on top of the fires before they get big and unmanageable, and this opens up an exciting potential future. The sensor system will also be very important to the resolution of this problem. The system, which will entail both ground-based, aerial, and space-based platforms, won't be important just because we'll be able to know where and when fire pops up, but also because it'll enable us to differentiate between good and bad fire, low-intensity fire and high-intensity fire, which is very important because we need more low-intensity fire on our landscapes to help to rejuvenate our forests, just as much as we need to know where and when fire risk is becoming higher intensity. Fire is a prism through which we can see the future of humanity's relationship with natural systems. Working together and supported by technology, we can build a world in which communities are resilient to wildfire and in which forests are brought back into a healthy balance. Ultimately, we can build a future in which we don't just manage fire to protect human life and property, but to also protect the biosphere for global carbon emissions and for biodiversity. So let's get to work. Let's learn from fire and let's build a resilient, sustainable future. Thank you.